So welcome to the Los Angeles City Board of Public Works. It is Friday, November 5, 2021. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Board of Public Works. Dr. Campos, do we have a quorum?
Good morning, everyone. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, establishing quorum and roll call for today. We have President Good, Vice President Garcia, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioner Caloza. Mr. President, you do have a quorum. At this time, we currently do not have any callers on the line under general public comment. We also do not have any commentary under neighborhood council comment section, and no comments for any of the items for today's agenda.
Thank you, Dr. Campos. Let's start by taking the minutes from Wednesday, October 20, 2021. A motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Any objections? Commissioner Caloza, Vice President Garcia? All right, hearing none, the minutes from Wednesday, October 20th, 2021 are approved and adopted forthwith. Thank you all. Let's jump right in. We have a series of contract acceptances. Mr. McReynolds, Mr. McReynolds, are you here for that?
I am here for that, President. Thank you.
Good morning, Brett. What I'm thinking we'll do is take items 1 through 4 together. I'll read them all into the record, Brett, and then you can give your presentation and sort of truncate as necessary, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. All right, item 1, folks, is contract acceptance emergency sewer storm drain repair program quarterly acceptance report. Recommending the board accept the 248 sewer and 18 storm drain projects in the emergency sewer and storm drain repair program as indicated in the attached project summaries tables. I can read, and for some reason I'm having a difficult time doing it. Forgive me. Item 2, contract acceptance, 1819 Southwestern Avenue Bridge Home. Recommending the board accept this contract, and 2, request the executive officer to forward a copy of the acceptance report to the city council and the office of the city administrative officer. 3, item 3, contract acceptance, Mantua Road 225-239 retaining wall replacement project. Recommending the board accept this contract. And 4, contract acceptance, secondary sewer renewal program, P04 Mission Road and Soto Street. Recommending the board accept this contract. Mr. McReynolds, it's good to see you, and why don't you proceed?
Thank you, President Good. Good seeing you, and commissioners and borough reps and colleagues. Brett McReynolds, Bureau of Contract Administration. So the first item is the citywide emergency sewer and storm drain quarterly report. And I'm here to request that you accept the 248 sewer and 18 storm drain projects on this ESR storm drain projects list, summary tables 1 and 2. So summary table 1 is the emergency sewer repair projects, and that's sorted by the dates of 5/4/2017 to 2/9/2021. And the second summary table is for the storm drain repair projects, and those were the ones that are completed between 7/9/2018 and 9/10/2020. So a little background on November 21st, 2007, November 14th, 2012, and November 15th, 2017, your board adopted these joint reports which established the program authorizing contractors on the on-call sewer contractors list to perform emergency sewer and storm drain works. This report represents 266 of those construction orders that were completed between May 2018 and February 2021, utilizing 20 different on-call contractors, as is noted in transmittals 2 and 3. These 266 construction orders represent a subset of the emergency storm drain work that was inspected by BCA during this time period. These emergency reports, or projects rather, are initiated by the Bureau of Sanitation to make emergency and necessary repairs to the city's damaged sewer and storm drain systems. The projects valued from approximately $1,790,000, is that $1,790.27, I think, and then $4,175,435.97, and ranged from sewer and storm drain mainline cleaning, which includes everything from spot repairs to complete removal and replacement of mainline pipe. It should be noted that individual scope descriptions can be found on each specific construction order. Projects were performed either on a time and material basis or an agreed price basis, and projects are funded through SCM. These projects are all emergencies, thus no specific MBEWB participation levels were established. However, the contractors complied with all other EEO and labor compliance requirements. There are no unresolved property owner complaints in connection with these projects, and again, we're asking for your acceptance. And I'll take any questions on that one. Do you want to take questions now, or should I just keep rolling through?
Keep rolling.
Okie
Yeah,
doke.
let's go through, Brett, and then we'll take questions after.
Thank you. Okay. So the next one is 1819 Southwestern, the bridge house that we did there, a bridge home project. And it's requesting you accept this project. On September 7th, 2018, the City Council adopted reports from the Homeless and Poverty Committee instructing staff to report on city-owned property at 1819 West to construct what was to become this project. Subsequently, the CAO established a list of pre-qualified developers to build housing using shipping containers. 4 firms responded to this builder request, and the builder LSA/HBG achieved the highest rating score. Council then authorized the Bureau of Engineering to negotiate and execute a development contract for the design and construction of this project. The contract was awarded on a competitive basis on June 13, 2019 to LSA Capital/HBG Construction Partnership in the amount of $1,542,490.08, with a contingency for a total authorized budget amount of $1,696,739.08. The project constructed a bed facility to safely accommodate unsheltered, and the project utilized prefabricated shipping containers in this process. Most of those shipping containers were fabricated off-site, hauled on-site, and installed on top of concrete foundations. The project also included site work and some new driveways and sidewalk work. 7 change orders were issued, bringing the total cost of the project to $1,659,581.08. That's 7.59% above the award amount and 2.19% below its budget. Changes were due mostly in area of sidewalk, the site work, and then the sidewalk. I think we had to widen and add a driveway. This contractors comply with all EEO and labor compliance requirements. It should be noted that the local business preference, business inclusion program, and mandatory subcontractor minimums were all waived for the crisis bridge housing projects and program. Funding was provided by Crisis Bridge Housing Funds as well as the Homeless Aid Grant. All work was completed on August 4, 2020, and subsequent releases of disputed funds took place based on information provided to the contractor incrementally. Currently, we have no unresolved or disputed funds and no unresolved complaints or property owner complaints. The next one is Mantua Road Wall replacement project. This is a bulkhead project in Council District 11. On February 24, 2020, this contract was awarded on a competitive basis to Jilk Heavy Construction, Inc., using the emergency on-call geotechnical list of contractors. The project was awarded for $533,960 with a not-to-exceed total budget of $640,752. The contract provided for the repair and replacement of 250 lineal feet of damaged existing concrete retaining wall that was in bad shape, and we replaced it with a new pile and lagging wall. 4 change orders were issued, bringing the total cost of the contract to $516,995.94, which is 3.18% below the award amount and 19.31% below its not-to-exceed budget. Funding was through SB1. The contract was issued using the emergency on-call contractors list, so no specific MBWB levels were established with this project as well. The contractor has complied with all other EEO and labor compliance requirements. Work was completed on this project on April 8, 2021, and there are no unresolved property complaints or disputed funds. And the last project that we have package here is for Secondary Sewer Renewal Program, the SSRP program. This is the Mission Road and Soto Street in Council Districts 1 and 4. On February 28, 2018, this contract was awarded to Vasile Inc. in the amount of $2,972,463, with a contingency for a total contract amount of $3,269,709.30. The project consisted of the replacement and rehabilitation of 3.8 miles of 6, 8, 10, and 12-inch sewer lines, mostly in the East LA area. The project included modifying the sewer structures and associated works that included CCTV, trenching, shoring, bypass, sewer cleaning, and new paving. 11 change orders were issued, decreasing the total cost of the project to $2,963,022.13. The project was completed at 0.32 below the award amount and 9.38% below the authorized budget. Changes were due mostly to field measured contract adjustments. The contractors complied with all EEO opportunities and labor compliance requirements. Funding was by the wastewater capital funds and as well as wastewater green bonds. All work was completed on January 20th or 27th, 2020, with a subsequent release of disputed funds taking place. And currently we have, all issues have been cleared. We have no property owner complaints or unresolved complaints, so we're asking for acceptance on this one as well. And I think that's it. Yes. Item number 4. So I will entertain any questions.
Thank you, Brett. Appreciate that. Colleagues, any questions on these? Vice President Garcia, why don't you kick us off?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Brett, for your thorough report. My only question, there weren't any issues or any lingering situations with these contracts?
No, everything has been resolved on all of these contracts.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't have any more questions, President Good.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Commissioner Closa?
Thank you, President Good. Thank you for your multiple reports, Mr. McReynolds. I don't have any questions for you. I'm glad we're closing out these projects. Thank you.
Thank you. And President Pro Tem Davis?
Thank you, Mr. President. No inquiries or questions from me. Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, thank you, Brett. I don't have any questions either. All crystal clear and appreciate it. So what I will do is take a motion to approve items 1, 2, 3, and 4 together.
So moved.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Closa. Dr. Campos, you want to take a roll call, please?
Absolutely. There's been a motion by Commissioner Davis, seconded by Commissioner Caloza to adopt items 1 through 4. We will go ahead and take the vote at this time. President Good?
Aye.
Vice President Garcia?
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis? And Commissioner Caloza?
Aye.
This motion is passed. Unanimous. Mr. President, would you like to consider items 1 through 4 forthwith?
Yes, sir. Please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you, Mr. McReynolds. It's good to see you. Have a good weekend. All right. Let's go now, folks, to item 5. Item 5 is a contract award. Metro Builders Engineers Group Limited, Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant Headworks Fire Sprinkler System Replacement CIP 2466 rebid. Recommending the board, 1, declare Metro Builders and Engineers Group Limited, Metro, sole bidder to be the lowest responsible bidder and award Metro a contract for the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant Headworks Fire Sprinkler System Replacement Project for $2,353,351. And 2, authorize the president or 2 members of the board to execute the contract after approval as the form has been obtained from the city attorney. Looks like Mr. Nadir Shah is with us this morning. Good morning, sir.
Morning. Nadir Shah, Bureau of Engineering, Environmental Engineering Division. On May 12, 2021, the Capital Improvement Project CIP 2466, Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant, Headworks Fire Sprinkler System Replacement, was advertised with city engineers' estimate of $2,488,000 by the board, a single bid in the amount of $2,353,351 by Metro Builders and Engineers Group was received on July 14, 2021. The headwork facility at Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant provides preliminary wastewater treatment by removing large solids and grit from influent wastewater before these enter the primary treatment process. This process prolongs the life of downstream equipment by preventing clogging and blockages. The existing fire sprinkler system and associated piping at the headwork facility was installed in 1992 and shows signs of deterioration due to corrosive action of hydrogen sulfide gas in the wastewater influent. This project will remove the existing fire sprinkler system, and install a new code-compliant fire sprinkler system. The contract duration is 365 calendar days. On November 10, 2020, the Program Review Committee approved a construction budget, including contingency of $2,693,000. The recommendation is to declare Metro Builders and Engineers Group the sole bidder to be the lowest responsible bidder, and award Metro Builders a contract for the CIP 2466 Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant Edward Fire Sprinkler System replacement for $2,353,000 and $351. So, any questions on this report?
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. President Pro Tem Davis, any questions?
No, I think, Mr. Shaw, you did clarify that this prime contractor is the only sole proprietor to do the work on this project. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Vice President Garcia?
No questions for me. Thank you, Mr. Shaw, for your report.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Commissioner Close?
Thank you, President Good. I don't have any questions. Thank you for your thorough report, Mr. Shaw. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, no questions on my end other than how quickly can you get this done? In fact, I think that's actually in the report. I apologize, I forgot it. But when is this anticipated end date or completion date?
The contract duration is 365 calendar
That's
days,
right.
so it's 1 year from the NTP.
Because I've spent a little time thinking about the headworks recently, and and all I got to do is also see the picture of those corroded pipes to know that we should move quickly. And I don't mean to be glib, for sure. So thank you for the report, Mr. Shaw. Thank you for the work. I'll motion to approve the item. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Dr. Campos, can we take a roll call, please, sir?
Absolutely. There's been a motion by Commissioner Good, seconded by Commissioner Davis to adopt item number 5. We'll take the vote at this time. President Good?
Aye.
Vice President Garcia?
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis?
Aye.
And Commissioner Caloza.
Aye.
This motion is adopted unanimous and carries forward. Mr. President, would you like to consider this item forthwith?
You got it, sir. Let's please do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Shaw. You have a great weekend, okay? Okay. That brings us to item number 6. And item number 6 is a contract award, West Side Unit 4 High Voltage Conversion Fiscal Year 2020-21 Street Lighting Project. Recommending the board, 1, find Servitec Electric Inc., the first low bidder, to be non-responsive for failing to meet the mandatory subcontracting minimum as discussed in this report. 2, declare KDC Inc., DBA Dynalectric, LA, Dynalectric, second low bidder to be the lowest responsible bidder, and award Dynalectric the contract for this project for $2,843,331. 3, forward a copy of this report to the affected council district office. And 4, authorize the president or 2 members of the Board of Public Works to execute the contract for this project upon approval of all required documents by the city attorney. This was continued from an original board meeting on Wednesday, October 30, 2021. Mr. Al-Masood from BSL is with us. Good morning, sir. As is Chris Jensen from BCA. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Why don't you proceed, Mr. Al-Masood?
Okay. Good morning, President Good, Vice President Garcia, Commissioners, Executive Officer, and Bureau representatives. I'm Lawrence Al-Masood with the Bureau of Street Lighting. I'm here to recommend award of the West Side Unit 4 High Voltage Conversion Project to KDC Inc. DBA Dynalectric LA, the second low bidder. The scheduling of award was delayed due to an investigation by the Bureau of Contract Administration on Dynalectric, the recommended award contractor. The award of this project was postponed until the conclusion of that investigation and the settlement payment was received. This project will finish the work left uncompleted by the default of the Westside Unit 1 STM project. For reason of safety, rather than leaving the project on high voltage, the contractor was asked to implement a temporary method to convert the circuits to low voltage by reusing the existing wires. These wires were very old and unreliable, so they need to be replaced, but they mostly have fused with the existing conduit, making them difficult or impossible to remove. This project will install new conduit with new wiring necessary to provide reliable systems. The fixtures were previously converted to LED already with a temporary low voltage system, so there will be no fixture replacements on this project. The financing for this project is through a loan from the Municipal Improvement Corporation of Los Angeles. The first low bidder, Servitec Electric Inc., failed to meet the mandatory subcontracting minimum of 5%, and so it is recommended that their bid be deemed non-responsive. The second low bidder, Dynalectric, submitted a bid for $2,843,331, which is 9.95% higher than the engineer's estimate of $2,586,000. Dynalectric has complied with the mandatory subcontracting minimum requirements by pledging 8.43%. This bidder has met all the requirements of the bid and was found to be the lowest responsible bidder. Therefore, BSL recommends award of this project to Dynalectric. The bid bond for this project has been extended until November 19th. All bidders have been notified of this board meeting and have received a copy of the board report. Servitec has acknowledged receipt of the notice and report. So this concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Al-Masood. Before we start questions, I'd like to also hand over the proverbial mic to Mr. Jensen, who will be updating give us an update on the contract.
Okay, good morning. Thank you, Commissioners, and good morning, Bureau representatives. My name is Chris Jensen. I am the Labor Compliance Officer for the City of Los Angeles. At the bottom of page 4 of the board report, under previous work record, it states, KDC has been awarded numerous contracts issued by the board within the last 5 years, and it notes an unauthorized subcontractor substitution in February 2020. The next line states, I quote, other than the aforementioned, no significant or unresolved problems in inspection or contract compliance have been experienced by the Bureau of Contract Administration. This is incorrect. We've recently resolved this matter. The board report needs to be amended to replace that sentence with, in addition to the aforementioned, Dynalectric failed to pay prevailing wages for all hours worked on the Vision Zero Phase 2B project and 18 additional projects that were still in the Bureau of Contract Administration's jurisdiction. In response to this, Dynalectric paid $1,839,900.99 in restitution to 132 workers and $1,026,850 in penalties to the city. The last of these checks was received by the Office of Contract Compliance a week ago today, on October 29th, 2021, and this resolved the matter. If anyone has any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Jensen. Appreciate that. So we'll open this up. President Pro Tem Davis, why don't you kick us off, please, sir?
Okay. So I guess we have Servitec, who has been non-responsive on one hand. In terms of this particular project, Dynalectric seems to be the second lowest bidder who is entitled to take the contract. And yet, I guess, Chris, you have shared with us one of the issues that had been unresolved that Dynalectric had with the Bureau that needed to be clarified. Is that right?
That is correct. It was unresolved. However, all of the checks have come in. The restitution and penalty checks have come in. So this matter is resolved as far as we're concerned.
Okay, so they did resolve it. Can you just, for a matter of information, how many people applied for this particular contract? Do you know? Anybody?
That's a Mr. Al-Masood question, actually. Lawrence?
Yes, so I'm gonna pull up the board report.
And we've got two bidders, but
All right.
was there anybody else?
Yes, there was. So we had 6 bids.
Who was the one following this one is, were they over the, well, obviously they were over the department or the bureau's estimated estimation of the project, correct? The third one. Who was after Dyna Electric? I'm just getting basic information here. You said there were more than two. There were more than 2 who applied, correct?
Yes, there were a total of 6. So the one after Dyna Electric would be International Line Builders.
And what was their
ILB.
What was their quote?
And they bid $3,140,819.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner, I'm looking at the bid summary. So Elecnor Belco bid 2.9 million. I mean, if we're talking about the bid sheet, the summary's attachment 1 to the report, so you all have that.
Yep.
I don't want to misstate anything. It may be that, bid adjustments were made because the number that we get on the bid form sometimes is revised if there are,
Yeah, well, I would certainly want to know that.
So I'll let staff, and it may be no correction is necessary, but I'm just looking at the bid summary, and it does list Elecnor Belco at 2.9 million,
So
which is
Bill,
lower than the international line builders.
right. So the representative, Mr. What's his name again? Greg?
Al-Masood?
But Mr. Amasood, so you were aware of Belcor's bid as well, right?
Absolutely, yes. So they were listed a little bit lower on the bids. I was going based off of the way the bids were in the actual board report. So yeah, I do see Elecnor Belco put in a bid for $2,987,640.
For $2,800,000 is something, right?
$2,987,640.
Okay, so they were just they were very close. They were just like 100,000 more, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Commissioner Closa.
Thank you, President Good. Thank you for your report, Mr. Al-Masood and Mr. Jensen. I have no question specific to, the bid. I understand the report of what happened. I just have some questions about how this will be noted on the record for future contracts should they decide to bid, because I understand that obviously the change that you're making to the report today is very material and very substantial, and that I know that at the time the report was written, it wasn't settled. That said, we still could have put placeholder language to avoid the material edit that we're making today. So I just want to know for the record too, for my knowledge, will Dyna Electric have this noted on their record? Should they bid? Should they get awarded in the future? And how will that be noted? So the board is fully aware, because, I don't want to speak for my colleagues, but prevailing wage issues, we all know and take that very seriously. And the dollar figures that you shared with what the contractor paid out to the workers, over 100, and what they paid out in penalty to the city, they're not small amounts. It's an incredibly large fine, and I want the board to be fully aware that this happened for the future, and I want to make sure that this is noted properly on the record, even though I understand this has been resolved and that BCA is satisfied with how this was resolved.
Could I defer that question to BCA, Chris Jensen? How that would be noted on the record? Chris, I believe you're muted, Chris.
You're muted, Chris.
Sorry. I believe that's really up to the board. we can, the language I have suggested is pretty substantial. It does note 1.8 million in restitution to over 130 workers and over $1 million in penalties. So that's significant. I do also want to mention that I have spoken to a number of the workers as they've been coming in to get their checks, and they've informed me that the company ended the practice that resulted in this assessment over 8 months ago. So for the past 8 months, they've been fine. They seem to have learned their lesson. But still, it's a significant violation.
Right. My question is not for this report. Again, I understand we're making the change now, and I'm satisfied with how it's going to be noted. I'll be after this was publicized, but I'm satisfied with how I'm talking about for future. So how will BCA note this for future? Is it just going to be one sentence? Because I would like something as substantial as a notation as what we're making today in future board reports, should they bid in the future.
There would be notation in future board reports. I've actually already written one of the future board reports. There were a couple of sentences, not just one sentence, but a couple of sentences. And also, it will be something that Dyna Electric will need to declare anytime they bid on future projects. They will have to note that there's been a violation.
And it'll specifically note that it's a prevailing wage violation.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for confirming. And, I don't want to discuss future items here because we're talking about this one, but I do want to make sure that the details are in there, that it's not just, this says that they had a violation of some sort, but specifically that it was a prevailing wage violation. I would like the amount of their fine noted, the number of workers that it happened to, because I think that's important for our institutional knowledge as a board, for future boards too, knowing that they are a frequent bidder and a frequent awardee of contracts, that we protect the workers who this happened to and it doesn't happen in the future. And my last question related to that is there anything, and I understand that, they're not directly employed with the city, but is there anything that we can do to better protect our work? I know I'm asking you a totally general question here, to better protect the workers, because I understand that the investigation that you had to undertake, I'm assuming it had to involve people coming forward to let us know that this was happening to them. And I just want to make sure that there are no negative repercussions to workers for future work. And I know that's, again, a really hard thing for you to answer, but I just want to know from my knowledge, in case there's anything for those who may be listening in, what resources may be available at the city end if they feel like, they are facing any negative retributions because of what happened.
We're very concerned about that, and about protecting the anonymity of the workers. There's a couple of reasons, and one of them you hit right on it. Possible negative reaction from the company. They might fire somebody or lay them off or reduce their hours or whatever. So for that reason, that's one of the reasons we never divulge who has complained. Second reason, there's a section of the Labor Code, it's Section 1736 of the California Labor Code. It's basically a whistleblower law that says anytime a worker comes forth and provides information, we are prevented from giving that, identifying the worker to their employer. So we did have a number of workers come forward on this particular project. The company still does not know who any of them are. We have not divulged, we will not divulge who those workers are.
Thank you for confirming that on the record. I think that's really important to state.
We agree.
And I know, John Reamer cares about this a lot. You care about this a lot. Everybody cares about our workers. And the last question that I'll ask you, because this is very rare that this type of situation comes before the board, right? Where we're awarding a contract to somebody that at the same time we have just settled a very serious, labor infraction with. But can you just explain what the process is for a contractor that violates something like this? Because I know the process is not at the board level. Just for people who are listening and tracking this, I just want them to be aware of how this moves at the state level. If you can just share a little bit more.
Yes, I can do that, sure. It's a rather long process. This one took a little over a year, actually. Initially, it will start with probably with a complaint from a worker, or could be a third party. In this case, there was one of our inspectors, our Bureau of Contract Administration inspectors, brought something to our attention. Paul Ledoux, who really did a phenomenal job on this. We began to look into it and tried to investigate. Basically, we want to do a full investigation, know what the facts are. Just because you're told something in the beginning doesn't necessarily mean it's true. So, okay, we looked at the facts. We were able to interview a number of workers who confirmed what we were being told. These workers were being required to report before their official start time, typically 5:30 to 6 in the morning. Their official start time was 7 o'clock. Then they would work officially till 3:30. In actual fact, they would work till 4, 4:30, sometimes as late as 6. And they were paid from 7 to 3:30. So the investigations took a considerable amount of time to get all of those facts out. At that point, it was presented to the contractor. Any contractor has the right to take it to a hearing with a state-appointed hearing officer. We've been doing hearings since that process first began back in 2001. This is patting ourselves on the back, but we've never lost a case. So this particular contractor deemed it wise to not go to a hearing. And we had all kinds of evidence on this. We had video, we had photographs, we had observations of 2 different city employees, plus 6 different workers who were willing to come in and testify. The contractor deemed it best to pay the assessment that we had come up with. If they had not, we would have taken a city attorney and gone to a hearing. But they, as I said, opted not to do that.
Got it.
So there's a whole legal process that we are required by law to go through.
Thank you for detailing that, and thank you specifically for your work on this, and Mr. Reamer and the entire BCA team and everyone in the city family, and to those who came forward. My last request, I don't have any more questions for you, is if you can just keep us posted if there's any red flags that results from any of the workers specifically who came forward. I'm sure my colleagues and I would be very interested in knowing to see how we can continue to support your efforts to protect our workers.
Illegal termination is something that, frankly, it's outside of our jurisdiction, but
Yeah.
we are very concerned about it, and we work with other agencies, state and federal both, who do have that within their jurisdiction. We can work with them and get it resolved.
Right. Yeah, no, thank you, and appreciate your work on this. I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Appreciate that and appreciate
Mr. President, I had a clarifying question for you. Did we say that we resolved this issue prior to the bidding on this project or during the process of the bidding?
Chris, you want to answer that?
It's during the process. The checks just came in a week ago today.
So
The
while they were bidding, this was not resolved until recently.
That's correct, yes.
And they became eligible during that period of time while we were deliberating.
I don't
They
understand.
were eligible for contracting during the time in which we were deliberating the matter, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Thanks.
Thank you. Vice President Garcia?
Yes, thank you, President Good, and I appreciate my colleagues' questions. They were very informative in making sure that we handle this process correctly. And Chris and team, I want to thank you for really working with BSL on making sure that we get to this point. This project for BSL is really important, and as you might see, we've now rescheduled it a couple of times to give time for this investigation to go through and be settled. And so now that it's all settled and, there's been some kind of outcome out of it, we are able to move forward with this contract. That's why if you see on the agenda or if, before then, we had to reschedule it about 2 times, maybe 3 times. I'm not 100% sure. But the whole idea is that now that everything's kind of clear and settled, we can move forward with this one. And I hope and I expect that Dyna Electric, like you said, Chris, has kind of learned their lesson. They can now value and appreciate the workers and making sure that they are also being equitable all around throughout their workers, since Dyna Electric has so many of our city contracts. I know that they have a lot, and so we want to make sure that Dyna Electric does move to a place where we can continue to work with them. And again, if going to my colleague Calosa's point, if there's measurements for us to pay attention, again, not just Dyna Electric, but maybe more of our contractors, hoping that they don't do any type of exercise this type of situation like Dyna Electric did, in other words. So I hope that there's some kind of measurement, or I think there may be even a letter of notification to other contractors, like, hey, this happened. We want to make sure that this doesn't happen all around, especially not for our contracts. So that would be kind of my recommendation to BCA for the general part. Now, for this purpose of this contract, I know and I understand that this is separate from every other issue, so we can move forward. But Lawrence, to you and to the team at BSL, again, we probably have to have for the first part a little bit more eyes on it, so just making sure that everybody's that they're fulfilling the contract to the expectations and the standards of the city. That would be, again, also my recommendation. Nothing big, but just making sure that we kind of pay attention a little more to this, so making sure that nothing like this happens again. Other than that, I don't have any questions. I know we've gone through this a couple of times, and I'm ready to move this item forward, knowing that BSL, we have kind of now it has almost a sense of urgency to make sure that we get boots on the ground and making sure this contract goes through. So with that, when the time comes, even now, if anything, I'm ready to move it forward.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Couple of just quick notes. One, Chris, I think I know the answer, but really to Commissioner Colosa's point, in situations like this where we have workers confidentially whistleblowing and consistent, under the aegis of state whistleblower law, though we don't have necessarily jurisdiction in terms of anti-retaliation statutes, do we make sure and proactively inform those whistleblowers of their rights? Just sort of a heads up, this is what you need to be looking for, and you have these rights. Is that part of our process with them?
Yes, it is. It definitely is. We are very upfront with workers and with contractors as well. We tell them exactly what their rights are, and we tell them what we will do and what we will not do. We even cite Section 1736 of the Labor Code. That's why I know it right off the top of my head so quickly. We are very concerned about protecting the workers. We're here. I've said this many times. We're here to protect the workers and to protect the city, and also to protect the honest, reputable contractors that we're doing business with.
Well, and I appreciate that. And I think it is, this, there's lots of folks even who there's lots of folks not familiar with the labor code as you. So we want to make sure that that those workers are fully apprised of their anti-route retaliation rights. So I think it gives a lot of folks to assume that they don't have protections there. So I'm absolutely confident in y'all's diligence around that front. I mean, I think another thing that I would just point out in observation is that this contractor didn't fight, that this contractor did come clean, for lack of a better way to put it, and work with y'all. And I think that's actually a meaningful lesson for others who make mistakes, presumptively not as big a mistake, but who make mistakes, which is that, yeah, you need to come clean. And I think that's important, and that's why they're still at the table here. And you know, just for everybody's sake in the public, everybody needs to be on notice. Don't mess around, and or Chris Jensen will get you. Thank you for the incredible work, Chris. Thank you for your team's work. Thank you for John's work. This is really crucial. It is a clarion call, and I think it's really, thank you. And then thank you also, Mr. Al-Masood, for y'all's patience and persistence in this. Chris, I see you have something else.
I do. You've thanked me, and my name has been thrown out here several times, but I want to say I'm just the pretty face. The work was done, most of this work was done by Patty Kawada of our staff, and she had 11 analysts working with her on various things. But Patty did a wonderful job, and really the credit should go there. So.
Thank you, Patty, out there in the ether. Thank you, all of Chris and Patty's teams. And it does merit repeating. I mean, I don't think everybody, and certainly in the public, knows the granularity necessary in case building on something like this, and the exacting nature of that work. And you know, hearing you talk about 11 analysts, I mean, that's meaningful, and I think it's important for folks to know that. And so, thank you to your whole team. I hope some of them are listening, and if not, please let them know how appreciative we are of y'all's and their work. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chris. And I think one other just quick follow-up on Commissioner Colosa's point. I mean, just to be crystal clear, a next report, the section under page 4, where we have the unauthorized subcontractor substitution, this would be listed, correct?
Yes.
In subsequent reports. So
yes.
Okay. All right. Dr. Campos, are you there? I know you're there, but
Yes, I am.
so I'm not sure that this amendment or this board report needs to be amended as much as this needs to be reflected in the journal. Is that correct?
There's two ways of looking at this. One, if your board wanted to amend the actual report and codify the proposed amendments read by Mr. Jensen, then yes, the board would have to make a motion to adopt the report as amended to include that language into the report on page 4. And that would be considered a substantial amendment. I do not have that language, and I would need to work with Mr. Jensen offline to obtain all that information, all the language that he read into the record. Or I can go back and transcribe it, but it would take a couple of hours to do so. The second option is to move it forward as proposed. We can note a abridged version of the amendments in the journal as opposed to the verbatim amendments read by Mr. Jensen, and that could be codified. The third option, which is not as desirable, would be to withdraw this report, resubmit it as a new report with the proposed language read by Mr. Jensen. Again, that's not desirable, but still an option for your board to consider.
Channeling my colleagues, I sense a desire to have this, have the report itself amended. I only brought it up because, there typically I would say we want to just amend reports where it's about the recommendations and the board action. But here I think this is of particular importance, not just to me and not just to everybody, but to my colleagues. So I will motion to amend. First, to introduce a motion to amend the report based on Mr. Jensen's language and presuppose that he'll work with you post haste to do that. And so, do I have wait? I can just motion. We need to vote on the amendment, correct, Dr. Campos?
You can do it together. The motion could be to adopt the report as amended per the amendments read by Mr. Jensen.
So I'll motion to approve the report as amended. Do I have a second?
I'll second you, even though I did say I will move it forward.
Oh, you did. I'm sorry. Okay, so I'll.
Doesn't matter as long as we get it done.
No, go ahead. You motion, but add the amendment.
Yeah, well, yes, definitely. I say we do one, adding the amendment. So I motion to move this item forward, including the amendment that we just stated, which I don't have the proper words, Dr. Campos.
Neither do I, Commissioner Garcia. So we will obtain.
As stated by Mr. Jensen.
As stated by Mr. Jensen.
Stated in Mr. Jensen.
And I will work with him offline to get that information before we endorse the report.
Got it. Thank
Do
you.
we have a second?
You seconded, Mr. President.
Okay. Oh, that's right. I did. Okay, so I second. Okay, Dr. Campos, you want to do? Dr. Campos, can we get a roll call, please?
Thank you all. Thank you all for working together on this. There's been a motion by Commissioner Garcia, seconded by Commissioner Good to adopt the report as amended per the amendments read by Mr. Jensen. We will go ahead and now take a vote on this. President Good?
Aye.
Vice President Garcia?
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis?
Aye.
And Commissioner Caloza?
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Mr. President, would you like this item to go forthwith?
Please, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Lawrence.
Mr. Al-Massoud, you get to work. Mr. Jensen, thank you so much for all your work, and please connect with Dr. Campos, and let's get this rolling, okay?
Will do.
Thank you all very much, and please
Thank you, everybody.
keep us surprised, Mr. Jensen, okay?
Will do. Absolutely.
All right, y'all have great weekends. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, after that interlude of entertainment, we will get over. All right, let's move to, we'll go to item 7. Were you trying to get my attention, Auda? Okay.
No, I was trying to get Chris's attention that he was not on mute.
Oh, was that his? Oh, I thought that was Dr. David. I thought that was Mike's.
No, not me.
Okay. I was on a Zoom yesterday, and there was like 40 people. Oh, you were on there, Auda. That's right. Excuse me, Vice President Garcia.
I heard.
40 people. And this individual was having this incredibly elaborate conversation. And we were desperately trying to get her to understand that she was having this conversation with 40 people. A, completely hijacking the meeting. B, really putting her personal stuff on the street. And it was like, hello! We were all like, it was pretty funny. And then we were having technical difficulties. Cindy and I were trying to get it muted. We couldn't get it muted. So that was something one and out of. All right. Let's go to item 7, y'all. Item number 7 is specifications submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids. This is a project in CD3. This is Collier Street at Winnetka Avenue Storm Drain, work order SZS11743. Estimated cost of the project, $1,183,150. The bid receipt date anticipated is December 15, if approved, December 15, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve this solicitation of bids?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, good. Davis, and then seconded by Colosa. Dr. Campos, you want to take a roll call, please?
Absolutely. There's been a motion by Commissioner Davis, seconded by Commissioner Colosa to adopt item number 7. President Good.
Aye.
Vice President Garcia.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
And Commissioner Colosa.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Mr. President, would you like this to go forthwith?
Sure. Thank you. All right, that brings us to item 8. Who's with it? Is Mr. Lewis with us today on this?
Yes, he is. I will ask him to turn on his video cam.
Good morning, Mr. Lewis. Join us, please, sir. Item 8, status update on major upcoming street improvement projects from the Bureau of Street Services. Good morning, sir. You're on mute. Undermines your report.
Oh, yeah, you guys couldn't read my lips, huh? So good morning. I've been here the whole time. Good meeting, very informative.
Thank you.
So I'm going to provide information for the resurfacing in our Metro Division. This weekend will be, there's a lot of feedback.
I know, I'm hearing that too.
How about now? Is that a little better?
And then I'm muted. No, we're not hearing the feedback now. I think you've
Okay.
corrected.
All right, so I'll be reporting on resurfacing project for the metro area. As I mentioned in one of the previous reports, we're alternating between the metro and the valley for the weekend projects. We don't have enough staff for both areas to work the same weekend. So this weekend we'll be back in the metro area. We'll be working on Florence Avenue between Main Street and Broadway and CD9. And we will be doing a coal paving and, coal milling and paving. And there will be no work for the valley area. And that concludes the information for resurfacing for this weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Any questions, folks?
Mr. Lewis, in terms of you're going to do coal paving in the 9th District, is that right?
I'm sorry, I misspoke. It's coal milling and paving. So it's just milling. We're just going to profile the street and then pave the street.
I guess. So that you'll be doing that on Saturday?
Saturday and Sunday, yes.
Oh, and Sunday as well. Okay. And what time? So I guess we do a full day on Sunday? What do we do, Sunday to 5?
Well, we do until we finish.
Okay.
The work has to be completed. So we put on our notices from 6 to 6. Unfortunately, there are some days where we may end up working a little later. Sometimes we have issues with DOT, our transportation assistance, with moving vehicles such as the RVs or large trucks. Sometimes take longer to have removed from streets. So sometimes that pushes back some of our projects. So the goal is for us to complete it so that way we don't interfere with the flow of the traffic for the Monday morning rush. So we say 6 to 6, but sometimes it does run a little later.
So we do notification prior to going out for the project. So a week before, or at least 3 days before, you would have informed residents or something about moving the cars and all of that. Who does the outreach for us in that regard?
Yes, we do our own outreach. What I was alluding to is sometimes with the larger vehicles, such as semi-trucks or trailers, or RVs that are parked on some of our main thoroughfares, it's harder to get those moved away because we only have a few tow companies that actually have capacity to tow away those large vehicles. So when we have situations where those large vehicles are on our streets, that will definitely sometimes postpone or delay our projects.
Our responsiveness from constituents is pretty good, isn't it, in terms of when we do outreach in advance and inform them that we're going to be in a certain location. Usually we have cooperation from them, don't we? I know that there may be some isolated incidences where people have not responded, but by and large, the majority of the people respond when we do earlier notification and outreach. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's totally correct. The outreach where we seem to have the most difficulty is when it's not someone that actually owns the adjacent property, where they just may be parking in front of an adjacent property, whether it be a commercial building or residential. That's when we usually just go to basically the door to door, and we actually go to the vehicles. And sometimes they're the homeless encampments, and there's multiple trailers, and they usually work together and help each other, whether they have to push the vehicles out of the way because they don't want to get them impounded. But I was just stating that that is something that usually causes a little delay on our projects.
For the outreach that we do as it relates to constituents who are driving and using the street, do we put out signs prior to the area where we're doing the work to let people know that there's construction going on so that they can make an alternative route if they choose to do so? So do we notify, let's say if we're on 1st Street, do we on 3rd and 4th say, in 2 blocks there's construction being done, that kind of thing, or we don't go that far?
Well, we do it in the opposite. We'll highlight the street that we're actually working on, and then we'll show the detour route. And so the detour route may go from 1st to 2nd to 3rd. So it'll be in the reverse. It'll show the route to take to go around the work that we're doing and bring you back to the street that you started on. But yes, the outreach is done in advance, whether it's the signs posting saying no parking or the signs just stipulating that there will be work taking place, like road ahead signs such as that. And if there are major streets, then we'll actually put an arrow board, and it may have an actual message on there as well, letting them know next weekend or the weekend after, expect delays because the road will be closed ahead.
Well, good. So thank you so much for informing us about what we're going to be doing this weekend, and we look forward to the improvements in South LA this weekend. Thank you.
Yes, thank you all.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Any other questions, folks? All right. Thank you for the report, Mr. Lewis. You have a great weekend, okay?
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
All right. Last item, number 9, is an update from the Office of Community Beautification. Looks like Paul Roch is with us. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning. How are you? Is that, you guys able to hear me?
Yes, we got you.
Okay. All right. Great. Good morning. Yes, Paul Roch, Director of the Office of Community Beautification, here to provide a update on the activities of the office and a quarterly report to the Board of Public Works. I'll start with the graffiti abatement program. Numbers for the last fiscal year, OCB contractors removed 35,021,000 square feet throughout the city of Los Angeles from over 551,000 locations. This represents a 20% increase, or 8 million more square feet of graffiti abated than in the previous year. 82% of the graffiti removal requests were completed within 48 hours or less of being submitted, compared to 77% the previous year. As previously relayed to the Board of Public Works, OCB contractors are now taking photos of graffiti removal locations that have met or do meet the Board of Public Works approved criteria. Overall, this is going well. All OCB contractors are participating, and except for the occasional technical glitches encountered with the app that they're using, it seems to be working out fairly well. This weekend, probably as everybody's aware, the Los Angeles Marathon will be happening on Sunday. So we have OCB Strike Force graffiti abatement crews out this week driving along the marathon route and proactively removing any graffiti that they come across so that the route will be free of graffiti on Sunday. Moving along to public right-of-way cleanup. In terms of the Clean Streets program, in the past year, OCB contractors cleaned 7,250 locations across the city of LA. These contractors at those locations picked up over 144,000 trash bags worth of debris, litter, trash, and weeds from along the public right-of-way, and also picked up 43,304 illegally discarded large items along the public right-of-way. This year, as I'm sure everybody is aware, we've been working on a new program, Clean LA. This is sort of a secondary public right-of-way cleanup program with the focus on cleaning in grids that have been designated by the Bureau of Sanitation as being some of the highest impact parts of the city in terms of litter and weeds and just general urban blight. At this point, 54 people have been hired and are participating in the Clean LA program. We have 11 more that are currently in the pipeline going through background checks and the paperwork. And then we have 9 that are completing the on-the-job training aspect and will be moving into full-time employment within the next couple of weeks. So that gives us 74 new jobs that have been provided to the residents of the city of Los Angeles. The focus is hiring. The focus of hiring is on those recently coming out of incarceration, facing homelessness, etc. The goal, in addition to cleaning the streets, is to help these folks get their lives back on track and develop a solid track record of employment. OCB contractors right now have the capacity to hire another 30 individuals this month, which should get us to about 105 persons employed. OCB staff is currently working on matching participants that are referred through the Economic Workforce Development Department WorkSource centers. We are matching those participants with a OCB contractor, and again, we'll have about another 30 by the end of the month. The goal ultimately is to get to 200 people employed through this program. Some of our contractors are facing challenges as far as purchasing vehicles and hiring supervisors. And so once that sort of infrastructure is in place, we will be able to provide those job opportunities up to 200 individuals. Moving along to the Keep LA Beautiful program, we're now starting, I guess, what we would call our rain barrel season. Over the past 3 months, we have been distributing and distributed approximately 75 rain barrels out of the OCB warehouse, where individuals had predetermined days when they could come down and pick up a rain barrel. Tomorrow, we'll be having the first large-scale distribution rain barrel event held in conjunction with Council Member Monica Rodriguez, Bureau of Sanitation, Board of Public Works, Keep Los Angeles Beautiful, and OCB. This week, OCB warehouse staff assembled the 80 rain barrels, which will be utilized this weekend and passed out to residents in CD7. They were picked up at our warehouse this morning by sanitation crews and have been taken to the site for tomorrow's event. Extra shout out to Commissioner Garcia for helping us keep everything on track and keep all the balls in the air and make sure that everything happened as it was supposed to. Keeping along the Keep LA Beautiful line, we're in the process of awarding our Beautify LA grants. Probably as everybody's aware, through Keep Los Angeles Beautiful, we had a small grant opportunity for residents in the city of Los Angeles. Ultimately, we received about 50 applications. Of those 50, we narrowed them down to 26 applicants that were invited to apply for the second round of a little bit more extensive application. Of those 26, we received 19 completed applications, and we will shortly be coming to the board recommending funding for 14 projects at $2,500 each. And again, that's a matching fund, matching grant, so the communities will be matching that amount at least, if not more, through a number of ways, either direct financial matches or in terms of volunteer hours provided for the projects. In terms of grants, the state of California is currently offering beautification grants to local communities, and OCB will be applying for a few of these grants for some different projects. We've been working with different Board of Public Works staff to narrow down the projects and completing the paperwork. That first needs to be submitted to the CAO's office, and the CAO, I believe, is going to be looking at all the different grant applications that city departments and bureaus are working on, and kind of helping to prioritize those grant applications for the state. Those grant applications are due in February of 2022, so in a couple months. Moving along to volunteer cleanups, this is a time when a lot of people are getting interested in doing neighborhood cleanup events. We are continuing to support these events, and also continuing to provide information on how they can hold these events in a COVID-safe manner. Recent highlight in terms of volunteer cleanups this past month in October, OCB was proud to serve as an integral part of the Tom LaBonge Community Day of Service, which involved several hundred volunteers at various locations around the city. We had a great and positive response from everything I heard, and it seems that this may become an annual event. I think that all the Board of Public Works Commissioners were out and involved in events in different parts of the city. I personally was in the Griffith Park area for that project, and I can confirm that President Good was out there breaking a sweat along with his entire family. In terms of staffing, over the past several months, it's been somewhat challenging for our office. You know, as everybody's aware, we have a fairly small staff in OCB, and as demonstrated by this report, we've had a lot of work and a lot of projects going on. Anna Huizar was recently returned from maternity leave, so that gives us a boost in staffing in OCB. And we've recently conducted some interviews, which will hopefully soon allow us to bring another staff person on board. That overall completes my report. Thanks to all of our partners in the city that we've worked with over the past few months, to the OCB staff, and to our contractors who are out there on a daily basis removing graffiti and cleaning the public right-of-ways and helping keep Los Angeles clean and beautiful.
Thank you, Mr. Roch. Any questions, folks?
Yeah, Mr. Roch, I wanted to thank you so much for your report in general, and in particular, the work that we were able to accomplish with the Tom LaBonge Day and its regional impact that it had throughout the city. And I want to thank our Board of Public Works leadership who helped to initiate that project. It was really great. I did have the chance to work in the Watts area. So I appreciate this report. As we look forward towards the last quarter of the year, we only have really this month and December. Before you know it, we're in 2022 again. The issue in terms of cleaning up, beautification around South Los Angeles, which is an area in which I have collaboration with the various areas that are the 10th, the 9th, and the 8th. Where are we in terms of community beautification projects in that area? Do we have a certain schedule, or do we just respond to the collaborations that occur as each district confronts the Office of Community Beautification? How do we engage, if you will? What is community engagement like for the South LA area?
Okay. In terms of volunteer events, you know, it's a little harder these days to get out to all the different neighborhood groups, just because, you know, there are still not as many community meetings or in-person things. And virtually, we have attended different community meetings, including neighborhood council meetings, and continue to do so, just to let people know about the different opportunities and how they can get involved in beautification types of projects. We also did the outreach for the grant program, and do have some grant projects in the South LA area that will be coming to the board to recommend approval for in the next couple of weeks. In terms of our contractors, the Clean LA teams, again, are working in designated designated grids right now, primarily in Council Districts 8 and 9, and have been doing a lot of work in cleaning up those different areas and focusing on going back to the same streets, same corridors on a weekly basis, just to try so that it's not just a case of where you come in and you clean it up once and then you let it kind of get dirty again, but by continuing to go into those areas week after week and get them more on a maintenance level and make sure that the trash doesn't get to a point where it's overwhelming again, that the weeds aren't getting trimmed down once and then maybe not trimmed again for another year or something like that. So that's a little bit of the difference that we're working on with the Clean LA program, is they're continuing to go into these grids and work the same corridors on a ongoing weekly basis. So every Monday they're going back to the same grid. Every Tuesday they go back to the same grid. And those are areas, again, that have been designated by the Bureau of Sanitation as being some of the most in need parts of the city.
Great. So there's a collaborative effort with the Bureau of Sanitation as well as the services that we provide in community beautification.
Yes, absolutely. We always work closely with sanitation. So
great. So as we approach the first quarter, I want to make sure that we can collaborate and have some more discussions about our potential. I know it's impossible to do everything, but looking forward to the first quarter, what we can do to kind of identify a few projects that we can look to in response to the whole issue that we all have to deal with in terms of the infrastructure with regard to the homeless issues, encampments, and the various areas where we do have some challenges. And so I do know that we have limited staff, but to that degree, as we move forward, I want us to continue to work and try to identify at least a project in each of those South LA areas where we can enhance the services that community beautification gives, of course, along with the Bureau of Sanitation as well. So I look forward to talking with you and having some conversations with some of those district offices as well as we look at our first quarter coming up.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Colleagues, any other questions? Commissioner Colosa, Vice President Garcia?
I'll let Vice President Garcia go.
Go ahead, Jessica.
Please go ahead.
I don't have any questions for Mr. Roch, but just want to thank him for his work, and I know his team has been down a lot of people, and the requests still keep coming. So, and I know we're due for a check-in with Vice President Garcia to go over the transition to the mobile app. But it sounds like from everything we've heard from you both here and in our individual meetings that the transition has been going well. So I want to thank all the contractors for making that swift transition to the mobile app. So thank you for your report. I appreciate all the updates that you shared. Lots of great work for the community and lots of great work from our partners. And thank you to Vice President Garcia and President Good and Commissioner Davis. I think we were all out at different places on the Tom LaBonge Day. So that was really nice. Thank you.
Thank you for your leadership.
Vice President Garcia?
Yeah, thank you, President Good. I want to actually take the time to thank the Office of Community Beautification, Paul, and your team, Karina, Jerry, Thomas, Anna. Am I missing somebody?
Sal and Daniel in the warehouse.
Sal and Daniel, oh my
That's
God.
it, yeah.
Sal and Daniel, who are our rain barrel makers,
Right.
and have, I just want to say that over the last rain barrel season, I don't know if we gave an update, but we gave out more than almost 900 rain barrels last season. This year, our rain barrel season it's to be determined. It's not our city. It's our rain barrels are a little scarce right now. The actual rain barrel, not the work. So as soon as we know that we can get a flux of more rain barrels, we'll start really scheduling our rain barrel event. So tomorrow's event in Council District 7 will be one that we are partnering with the winter harvesting classes that sanitation conducts. And Davis, so that you know, those classes will also be giving in South LA, in Griffith Park area, and in the harbor area, if I'm not mistaken. And they will also have rain barrels attached to those. But for now, you know, what we have in the warehouse is really what we have right now. But I do want to, you're right, Paul, and thank you. I want to highlight Sal and Daniel for all the work that they do behind the scenes, for managing the cleanups, for making sure that all these events that were done, like the Tom LaBonge event, even our tree planting events, and every event that we've had so far, cleanups, they're the ones that get the tools ready for folks to either get them, pick them up. They're the ones that deliver them. So they do a lot of work behind the scenes. And I know we hardly ever see Sal and Daniel, but Sal and Daniel do a lot of work too. So kudos to them. Please let them know that we spoke about them during the board and that their names are now in minutes and in journals as well here at the board. And, you know, I also want to thank you for also being such a willing participant in doing so many additional functions that we have been doing in the past couple of months in the office, and just making sure that we attend to everybody's needs and so forth as the city is now opening up. So thank you, Paul, and really thank you to your team, Karina, Jerry, Anna, you know, for just there's so many aspects that we're doing. This grant that shortly will be coming to show what projects were approved, and we'll move forward within our grants program are exciting, and the idea is that we'll have 14 new community beautification projects throughout the city for the first cycle, and crossing my fingers that we can do a second cycle that we can announce at the beginning of next year, and that, you know, by the end of this fiscal year, we'll hopefully have 28 new beautification projects, and we are really maximizing the most that we can. 2,500 is not a lot, but when you put community, people power, volunteers, people donating, all of that, you can really get a nice project out there, and that's the intention with this. So we're hoping we can eventually increase the amount of grants, and therefore make bigger projects and more impact as well. But for now, we're very excited to move forward with these. We're not quite ready to just kind of make it public yet, but it's coming in the next couple weeks. So that'll be coming. Other than that, I just want to say again, thank you to OCP staff. I'm excited at where we're going and excited to what the next year will bring us as well. So with that, thank you, President Good, for my time, and I'm happy to really accept Paul's oral report.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. I very excited about the grant program work that you're doing with Paul and the team there, which is going to be exciting, and it's being done very smartly, and I appreciate it. Yeah, it's going to be great, and hopefully we'll have a successful year. I mean, next year too, right? And I would just echo Paul. Thanks. I mean, great report, and then more specifically on the Tom LaBonge Day of Service, pretty much everyone, and we chatted about this, Paul, to my fault. Everyone got a lot of credit except OCB, and it wouldn't have happened but for OCB. And so thank you to you and the team. You guys were all over the city, you know, show up at an event, stacks of rakes, stacks of shovels, the whole shebang. It's awesome. So thank you very much. Great job. I do hope that becomes an annual event. It was outstanding.
It was a good day.
Really was a great day, and so thank you and the whole team for that. And with that, yeah, thank you for that report. Really appreciate it. Have a great weekend, and I know I'll be talking to you shortly as well. So, Dr. Campos, I believe we've cleared the decks. Yes.
Yes, you have.
All right. Any last shots? Anybody? We good? All right. This meeting is officially adjourned. You all have great days, and enjoy your conference, Commissioner close-up.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Good weekend, everybody.
Y'all too.
Ready.